Today we were detained by Venezuela's secret police and accused of being CIA spies. They took my phone, took my mugshot and told me I'm going to prison for 45 days under investigation. Now you're probably wondering, how the hell did all this happen? Well, things started off just like any other day. Welcome to San Antonio del Táchira, a little town sitting right on the Venezuela Colombia border. A lawless region home to all kinds of dodgy business, pretty much the Wild West. Today we're going to hit the streets, meet the people and see what life's really like here on one of the world's sketchiest borders. Come on. First things first, we're going to head into this local market here. We're better to get a feel for life here in this little border town. And this, my friends, is where the nightmare began. Well. We just tried to head into the local market to get some breakfast, and within about 60 seconds we got stopped and pulled into the back of the market where there are a group of men sat around in a circle, a bit intimidating, asking us what we're doing here. Apparently we're not allowed in there, we can't film in there, we need to get out of here. They're asking us where we're from, sending a few messages around, no idea who they are. Best not to ask who they are in those situations. But anyway, this is the reality of travelling here in Venezuela, especially around here in a dodgy little border town. Aye. After getting kicked out of the market, we started walking back towards the centre of town. After a few minutes, I noticed two of the men from the market driving a motorbike a few streets away. I tried to ignore it, I tried to brush it off, I tried to pretend we weren't being followed. Then I saw them again. And again, and again. At this point it was clear we were being followed. Feeling on edge, we went and sat down on a park bench outside the church. We sat there in silence for 15 minutes, running through scenarios in our head about what the hell could happen to us. We were in a lawless region of a lawless country, pretty much the Wild West. Are we going to get kidnapped by armed groups? Are we going to get arrested by the Venezuelan secret police? Are we going to get people trafficked across the border and end up in forced prostitution for the rest of our lives? We had no idea, but we knew something was wrong.
After a couple of minutes of thinking that our lives were over, a big blacked out Jeep pulled in front of the park we were sat in, and I thought to myself, that looks like a military vehicle.
I said, nah, no chance. It's just a rich family going out for the weekend. After about 5 minutes it drove off. I knew it. It was just a family pulling over to make a quick phone call. Or was it? At this point, we thought we were all good, but little did we know things were about to go downhill fast. Next minute, two armed men approached us from behind and asked us to stand up and give them identification. It was only the bloody Venezuelan secret police.
They began questioning us. They were asking us who we were, what we were doing, what our jobs were, what our parents' jobs were. They wanted to know how we travelled so much and who was paying us to be there.
I told them we're just tourists. We make YouTube videos, there's nothing more to it. But they weren't buying it. They then told me they needed to search through both my camera and my phone. Now in that situation I couldn't exactly say no, so I handed them over. I stood there nervously for what felt like an eternity, watching them flick through every corner of my phone. In the back of my mind, all I can think about are a few pictures I have on there, pictures I probably shouldn't have. Pictures of probably the most infamous prison in all of Venezuela. A prison that was built as a mall way back in the day. A prison home to many political prisoners. A prison home to many torture stories. A bloody dodgy place. I didn't see things ending too well for us here. But anyway, as expected, they'd found the first thing they weren't too happy with. WhatsApp conversations with people from the USA. Unfortunately, this is where the CIA spy accusations began. I tried to tell them, they're just friends. We travel a lot and meet people from all over the world. But they weren't too impressed. Next up was the moment I'd feared the most. They'd found the photos of the prison. Bloody course they did. He turned my phone round and asked me if I knew what that building was. I stupidly answered, it's a shopping mall. They both looked at me like disappointed fathers and asked the question again. This time, I answered a prison.
That was it. We were now being detained. Nice one, Ellis. They took our passports, they took our devices and escorted us to the blacked out Jeep. Ellis was telling me not to get in the car. What did he want me to do? Run away from the 6-foot armed secret police officer?
Anyway, we reluctantly got into the Jeep, and let me tell you, that entire car journey across town I was shaking like a shitting dog. My heart rate was through the roof. I knew that whatever was about to happen to us was completely out of our hands. Solo este, por favor. Upon arrival to the secret police office, I was taken into the back room for interrogation. The phone search continued, but this time a lot more intense. They went through every photo, every file, every message, every app. I felt like a criminal. My interrogator first asked me to show him my YouTube channel, so I pulled it up on his phone and the first thing he saw was a giant picture of me firing an RPG in Cambodia. Yep, I'm not doing myself any favours here. He then looked me in the eyes and said, "You're in the military, aren't you?" I said, "Nah mate, I just like firearms," but he wasn't too convinced. He then found one of my videos where we bought some dynamite and blew it up in the Bolivian mountains. Again, this made me look extremely suspicious. He then found some photos of a certain plant and accused me of taking drugs. I said to him, "Listen mate, it's not for me. Those pictures are from a friend's house. In Trinidad and Tobago, the stuff is perfectly legal." He didn't seem too bothered. I reckon he was looking for a new supplier. He then found photos of my Russian police patches and asked me why the hell I've got those. I told him I bought a second-hand Russian police jacket at a market in the Bolivian desert. I told him I like traditional countries, they're great places. This was one of my only answers that he seemed genuinely happy with. His attention then went back to the prison photos. These were a big issue, and I can understand why. It were pretty stupid of me. I was meant to back the pictures up and delete them beforehand, but I completely forgot. He just kept telling me I'm part of the CIA, and I had no flipping idea what he was talking about. It was only until around the 5th time of asking that it clicked in my head. The CIA. I said, "Nah mate, listen, I'm just a tourist, I'm here making YouTube videos." But he didn't believe me. He just kept calling me a liar over and over and over. He then asked me where my bag was, where were all my things, did I have a laptop? Now here I'm instantly thinking, shit. In my bag I've got a spare phone that won't turn on, and I've also got a hard drive containing videos we took in the hilltop neighbourhoods looking down into the secret prison. Luckily, he passes over it and moves on with the interrogation. Next he asked me the hardest question of all. What do I think of Maduro's government? Now, like any sane person, I answered, I like Maduro, I like the government, why wouldn't I? I thought he'd be pleased with this answer, but no. I think I just made myself look even more suspicious. He kept asking me, how much money do I make? How do I get paid? And the interrogation went on and on and on.
While Ellis was being painfully interrogated, I was being questioned by the other officer next door. He asked to look through my camera, and before he started searching, asked if I'd forgotten to delete any pictures. What a gentleman, eh? He was asking me about the mountains in Peru and what the people were like in Bolivia. I think he was just being nosy. Or maybe he was trying to get some travel inspo.
Now after a while of intense interrogation, they told me to stand up, they took my mugshot photo, then they told me I'm going to prison for 45 days under investigation. Yeah, that, my friends, was probably the worst moment of my life so far. I didn't know what to do, I was speechless. I stood there in the corner of the room, not saying anything, just imagining my prison cell, my new home. Imagining eating gruel once a day, being bummed in the showers. Bloody hell. But what could I do? I couldn't escape, I just had to accept it. Accept my fate.
I just started crying my eyes out. I was asking them what they wanted. I was willing to give them all the money that we had on us. It was so stressful.
So after a couple of minutes of absolutely shitting myself, the nightmare was over. Thank the Lord. It was all just part of the interrogation process and we passed the test. They'd realised we're good people, just innocent tourists there to have a good time. They went into my phone and deleted the pictures of the prison so we're no longer compromising state security. They then went into my phone's bin and deleted them from there as well. And that was a little bit awkward. In there's some dodgy stuff, some pictures of the aftermath of a recent food poisoning. But anyway, we all took a selfie, they took my number, and they even subscribed to the YouTube channel. So if you're watching this, lads, cheers. You did the right thing. Be proud of yourselves.
They let me stroke their English Bull Terrier in the secret police station, offered us some sweets, and drove us to the nicest restaurant in town for some lovely smoked meat.
They're cooking the meat here over the charcoal, it looks bloody beautiful. and he's going to cut it fresh right here, cut it on the scale, so you order your meat by the weight. How good does that look? I'm not going to lie, I'm in no fit state to make a video. I'm so shook up I can't even speak properly, but it is what it is. Muchísimas gracias.
Con gusto, buen provecho. Ya estará lo de
Check it
tomar.
out, people, this food looks banging. So I've got my giant chunks of beef, we've got all the pork there. Cheers. Cheers, people.
I'm grateful for this.
Well, we might have got stopped by Venezuela's secret police, but we did get a free bottle of ice cold water. Could be worse, eh? In all seriousness, I thought the secret services were driving us here. They were going to tell us it's our last meal and then we're off to prison. Listen, right, I've got nothing against the Venezuelan authorities, no hatred for them whatsoever. Was it a terrible experience? Yeah, it was bloody awful. But is it understandable? Yeah. We were travelling through one of the dodgiest regions in all Venezuela, at probably the dodgiest time in Venezuela's history. Shut up with that loud bike, mate. Trying to tell a story over here. This is the struggles of filming here in Latin America. Should we go again?
Take 73, action!
Look, I get it. They're just doing the job. I don't blame them for being suspicious. I would be too. We're two whiteys wandering around with a camera through a highly sensitive region during a highly sensitive time. While we were in Venezuela, the USA were threatening military intervention, potential airstrikes against drug cartels, regime change, whatever. Just off Venezuela's coast there were US warships, thousands of military troops. It was never going to be a walk in the park. But it is what it is. We've got a story that I'm pretty sure we'll never forget. Right, people, I'm now going to roll the only footage we managed to film that day. This, my friends, is all you're going to see from Venezuela's Colombian border region. Enjoy. Here we've got the market toilets. What the heck's going on in here? What are you lads doing in the toilets? Hey? What are you doing in the toilets? What are they like in here? Should we have a look? Well, not too bad, not too bad. Got a little curtain for privacy. I'd say they are definitely poolable. Just might need a bucket of water to flush away the, well, your business. We're gonna get ourselves a nice beverage in here to try and calm down. That's just what you want, that. Fresh sugar cane made right here on the street. Cheers, people. That is the spot every time. Right. Well, I guess we're going to leave this one here. When the secret police tell you to stop filming, you should probably stop filming. And plus, I'm not really in the mood to film anything anymore anyway, so... See you next time when we cross the border, when we're out of Venezuela, and hopefully in Colombia.
Freedom.